When your body doesn't feel safe, what do you do when fear, anxiety, and overthinking take over? Welcome to Beyond the Surface. I'm Sarah White. I wanted to create this space for conversations about the things that happen underneath the surface of our lives, the fear, the anxiety, the transitions we don't always know how to navigate, our nervous systems, our inner guidance, and what it looks like to turn inward when everything around us is pulling our attention outward. And I couldn't think of a better place to begin than with something I've been experiencing very personally in my own life. What happens when you know logically that you're okay, but your body doesn't seem to believe it? Maybe something happened. You received news you weren't expecting. Something changed in your relationship. Your work feels uncertain. Money feels uncertain. Your health gets your attention. Or maybe you're facing a decision and you don't know which direction to go. Or maybe nothing dramatic has happened at all. You simply notice that your mind won't stop. You're replaying conversations. You're thinking 3 months ahead. You're waking up and immediately thinking about everything you need to figure out. And even when you tell yourself, I'm okay, your body seems to be saying something completely different. I've been there. I've actually been there quite a bit lately, and it's made me look more closely at what I do when fear enters my life. Because I've realized something about myself. When I feel afraid, I want answers immediately. I want to know what's happening. I want to know what's going to happen. I want to know how I'm going to solve it. I want someone to tell me that everything is going to work out exactly the way I want it to. And if I can't find that certainty, I'll keep looking. And maybe you recognize yourself in that too, because when we're afraid, many of us do something almost automatically. We turn outward. We pick up the phone, we Google, we scroll, we ask another person what they think, and then maybe another person. We check the numbers again. We read another article. We replay the conversation. We search for another opinion. We make another plan. We work more. We distract ourselves. Sometimes we eat, drink, shop, spend 3 hours on social media without realizing we've been doing it. And sometimes our version of turning outward looks incredibly productive. We're searching and planning, we're making lists and getting things done. But underneath all of that activity can be the same thing. I don't feel safe with not knowing. I need an answer so that my body can finally relax. This is something I've really had to recognize in myself because I'm someone who likes solutions. When there's a problem, I want to solve it. When something changes, I want to know what we're doing next. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. There are moments when we absolutely need information. We need to make decisions and be able to take action. But there's a difference between taking action from a grounded place and desperately searching for certainty because your nervous system is activated. I've learned that when I'm in that place, another answer usually doesn't give me what I'm actually looking for, because what I'm searching for isn't always information. Sometimes what I'm searching for is a feeling. I want to feel safe. And that's where the second direction comes in. Instead of immediately turning outward, we can learn to turn inward. I want to explain what I mean by that because turning inward can sound very abstract. It doesn't mean shutting everyone out. And it doesn't mean ignoring reality. It doesn't mean sitting in meditation while your life falls apart around you. And it doesn't mean we stop asking for help. Turning inward means that because I ask the outside world to regulate what's happening inside of me, I check in with myself. What is happening in my body right now? Where am I feeling this? What am I actually afraid of? What is true in this moment? And what does my body need before I make that next decision? Sometimes I put my feet on the ground. Sometimes I take a few intentional breaths. Sometimes I shake my arms and legs. Sometimes I walk outside. Sometimes I put my hand over my heart. And sometimes I use one of the somatic practices I teach. Sometimes I meditate. And sometimes I simply sit there and acknowledge I'm scared. Not I'm scared, so something terrible must be happening. Just I'm experiencing fear right now. Those are two very different things. Understanding the nervous system changed so much for me because we tend to treat anxiety like a thinking problem. So naturally, we try to think our way out of it. Why am I feeling this? What if this happens? What should I do? What am I missing? How can I make sure everything turns out okay? Meanwhile, your body may simply be responding to uncertainty as though something needs your immediate attention. When that happens, your nervous system can shift into protection. Your heart can beat differently. Your breathing can change. Maybe your muscles tense and your stomach feels differently. You become hyper aware. And so your thoughts speed up. Then something interesting happens. Your mind notices all of these sensations and starts creating stories to explain them. So now your body is activated because you're afraid, and you're becoming more afraid because your body is activated. It's a cycle. And telling yourself to stop thinking about it usually isn't very helpful. I don't know about you, but I've never had much success telling my brain, okay, we're done thinking about that now. If anything, suddenly it's the only thing I can think about. So I've stopped trying to force my mind into submission. Instead, I ask myself a different question. What does my body need right now? This has also led me to another question that has become incredibly important in my own life. Does this actually need to be solved right now? Because fear has a fascinating relationship with the future. It takes us there constantly. One difficult conversation happens today, and suddenly we're imagining what our life looks like 6 months from now. One unexpected expense happens, and we're mentally calculating our entire financial future. One health concern appears, and we're 20 searches deep into everything that could possibly happen. One person doesn't respond, and we've written the entire ending of that relationship. We leave the moment we're actually living and enter 10 imaginary futures. And our bodies react to every single one of them as though they're happening right now. So when I notice myself doing this, I try to bring myself back. What is actually true today? Is there something I can do? What needs my attention? Is there a decision I actually need to make? And if there isn't, can I allow myself to be here? Not next month or next year, here now in the present moment. Actually, wherever you are right now, unless you are driving, I want you to try something with me. Put both feet on the floor and just notice them. You don't have to change your breathing. You don't have to make yourself feel anything. Just notice the contact between your feet and whatever is underneath you. Now look around the space you're in and notice 3 things you can see. Maybe it's a window, a chair, a tree, or a cup sitting next to you. Notice where you're holding tension in your body. It could be in your jaw, your shoulders, maybe your stomach or your hands. You don't have to make it disappear. I just want you to notice. And I want you to ask yourself, what is actually happening right now? Not what might happen tomorrow, not what happened yesterday, but right now. And take one breath here, and then take another breath. Take another breath. This is turning inward. It's incredibly simple, but these small moments begin teaching us that we don't always have to follow fear wherever it wants to take us. We can return to ourselves first. Once I'm not completely consumed by trying to make the fear disappear, I can begin asking different questions. And instead of asking, how do I guarantee that nothing goes wrong? I can ask, what's the next decision I need to make? Instead of, what if I can't handle this? I can ask, what support do I need right now? And instead of, how do I get everything back to the way it was? I can ask, what is possible now? The last question has become especially meaningful to me because sometimes something happens that changes us. Sometimes a chapter ends. Sometimes the plan changes. Sometimes something we've held on to for years doesn't fit anymore. Our first reaction is often to try to get back to where we were. But what if where we were isn't where we're supposed to return? What if there's something here asking us to listen differently, to choose differently, to look at what we actually want now? I don't believe we have to pretend difficult experiences are gifts. Some experiences are painful and unfair, and some scare the hell out of us. But even in those experiences, there can eventually be a moment when we ask, what now? Not from panic, but from presence. What matters now? What do I want now? What am I ready to change? What have I been ignoring? What am I learning about myself? And what is possible from here? Because I don't believe we're meant to live our lives constantly searching outside ourselves for every answer. There are moments when we need information, and there are moments when we need experts, and there are moments when we need our people. But there are also moments when we need to hear ourselves. And that's difficult to do when our nervous system is activated and our mind is moving 100 miles an hour. The inner return is that moment when you notice yourself reaching outward and you come back to your body, to your breath, to your intuition, to what's actually happening right now. And from there, you decide what comes next. So today, I want to leave you with something incredibly simple. The next time you feel fear or anxiety rising, notice what you do next. Don't judge it. I just want you to notice. Where do you go? Do you immediately search for your phone? Do you start Googling? Do you call someone? Do you start planning? Maybe you start working. Do you start imagining everything that could happen? Do you turn outward? And if you notice that happening, try something different. Before you go any further outward, turn inward. Give yourself 5 minutes. Feel your feet. Take a breath. Move your body. Notice what you're feeling. Ask yourself what is actually true right now, and then decide what you need next. Because the goal isn't to never experience fear. The goal isn't to create a life where nothing ever activates you. Life isn't going to give us that. The practice is learning what to do when it does. And that's actually why I created the Nervous System Reset Vault. I wanted someone and to be able to go somewhere where you could go in these exact moments, not another long hour course you have to sit through when you're already feeling overwhelmed and not more information for you to consume. Just actual body-based practices you can choose from when you notice yourself spiraling, overthinking, feeling anxious, or struggling to settle your body. I've put together nervous system practices inside the vault so you can begin learning which ones work best for you and have them available when you need them. If you're listening to this on the private podcast page, you'll see the Nervous System Reset Vault right below this episode, and you can join me there if you are ready to take what we talked about today and begin practicing it. But before you go, I want you to remember this. You don't have to solve your entire future to feel safer in this moment. The next time your mind sends you searching everywhere for certainty, notice it. And before you turn outward, see what happens when you turn inward. Thank you for spending this time with me. I'll meet you back here for another episode.